everybody. Welcome back to the Fluff It Up podcast. I'm your host, Kalana, and today we have a pretty recent drama that happened at Texas Furry Fiesta today, and I actually have two guests. My co-host isn't here because he's currently logging in, but today we have some drama we have to talk about, and we have our two guests. We have Habibi Bites and Sprint Nexus. Would you guys like to introduce yourselves?
Yeah, hi, I'm Habibi Bites. I apologize for my voice. I got con crud, so you're just gonna have to deal with it right now.
Sprint?
Hey, I'm Sprint, and so I've been talking with Habibi recently, and I was kind of involved in the incident. I was not at TFF, but I called during the incident because I was worried about her well-being, and I found out about the incident. I was actually quite angry during the duration of it. I was volunteering right beforehand, and when I had called her, I was a bit worried. We'll go into that later, though.
Okay, so do we have any announcements? Sprint, would you like to?
I do have an announcement, actually. I'd actually like to say that I'm launching persona-based clothing soon, and I'm very excited about that. It's going to be called Nex Threads. And currently I'm looking for popular suitors in order to kind of like do giveaways and stuff like that for publicity. Message me on Instagram, Telegram, or Discord, and I could definitely set something up depending on your view rating or follower base. But it's going to be launched at Anthrocon this July. I'm going to host a panel for it. I've submitted the files and all documentation. Hopefully it gets accepted. So I just like to say that I'm very excited for it.
Heck yeah, man. I'll put your socials in the description. I'll put it on screen too.
Thank you very much.
Let's start with the topic for today. So recently, from a lot of things that I've been hearing, TFF was pretty eventful, especially when it comes to one of our guests here. So Habibi had a con stalker, which is not good, especially not for, a furry con where there's children present. And there's also just a couple other things that we'd like to talk about, how the fandom needs to change in some aspects and how I think of it and how we all think of it. So Habibi, would you like to tell us about your con stalker story?
Oh, yes. Okay. So I like to start off as a reminder that I am currently a minor, and I was identified as a minor at this incident. I had a special lanyard and badge for it, so keep that in mind.
I'll put a picture of it on the thing. Okay.
I was in a Discord server, and this dude, we're gonna call him Green Guy because he was wearing green. He decided to DM me because he knew I was going to TFF, and I was like, oh yeah, the con's gonna be so fun. And then he started DMing me weirder things. Like, he kept saying that he wanted to pick me up from behind and twirl me around or carry me like a princess across the dealer's den. I was at the con at the moment, so I kind of didn't think about it. I didn't read the messages. And then I saw him say, I just want to know if I have permission to hug you or pick you up because I know a lot of Muslims don't like to be touched. And I said, nah, because I was like, no, you can't hug me. I could take pictures, but you can't hug me. And he was like, aw. And then I kind of left it at that. And then I was in the dealer's den with my mom and my friend. And this dude from the Discord walks up to me. And he says, oh, Habibi, there you are. And I was like, oh, hi. And then one of the first things he asked me was, what's your opinion on dog collars? And I was just like, oh, that's really random, but I'm going to be really polite. And I was like, oh, they're okay. And he said, here, take a dog collar. And mind you, this dude is in his 20s. I am 17. He hands me a dog collar, and I kind of just looked over to my mom and my friend, and my mom was looking at this guy why are you giving my 17-year-old daughter a collar? So then he was just making small chat, and I was just like really uncomfortable. I kept like looking away and looking at my friend, look at my mom. I have a face veil on, so I can't really mouth anything. I just like kind of like stare at my parent and like be like, oh my God, why is this happening? And then this dude asked me, oh, where have you been? Because he was looking for me at the convention. And I said, oh, because I was like really nervous and I was like going to break the tension with a joke. And I said, oh, at your mom's house. And he said, if you were at my mom's house, my mom would have you pinned on the bed.
That's weird.
I can't make this up.
That's pedophilic, honestly.
And
This guy.
I just was like, I just said, whoa. And I like turned over and I looked over to my mom and my friend. They both heard this comment. My mom looked like she was about to throw hands with this guy. And then two other people, a girl and another guy walked up. And they were like, oh, so you finally found her. And I was like, that's creepy. So then I kind of like put on my suit again. And I walked off with my friend because I was looking at her and I was extremely uncomfortable. These people finally got the message, like, and they left. And I went over to my friend and I said, that was weird. And she said, yeah, do you want to leave? And I said, yeah. So we were walking out and my mom turned to the person next to her. And even the person who was a complete stranger was like, yeah, that was super weird and uncomfortable. And my mom was like not having it. So I went with my friend and up to the second floor because we were in the dealer's den when this happened. And she has a pretty big following, so she was getting stopped a lot for pictures and videos and having a lot of people say hi and ask for hugs. I was with her and I see the same guy. He was dressed in a green suit and a top hat. And I saw him walk by and like looking the crowds and he saw me. I saw him walk by, like walk the opposite way. And I saw him walk by again. Like he was looking for us. We moved a little bit behind a pillar. And he was looking for us. And he was obviously following us because like I saw him like kind of following me a little bit. Like he was on the same escalator when we got on. And I was just like, oh nah. And even my friend realized this. And she was like, I said, the dude is back. And she's like, is he following us? And I was like, yeah. And so she was like, let's go to my room and lose him for a little bit. So I went to her room. I called my friend, told my friend who was there, told her what was happening. I told my mom what was happening. And my mom was like, I'm going out and I'm going to find this dude. And I was just in the room for like half an hour, just like trying to get this guy off of my tail. So then my friend got out of her suit and she was going to take a nap because it was like really hot. She was full suiting at the time. So I was like, hey, I'm going to like walk back down and find my mom. So I was walking down and I got a text from Sprint, like some random text. So I texted him back saying, oh, I have a con stalker. And he just said, what? And I was like, can you call? And he called me and I was on the phone with him in the elevator. And he was on the phone with me this entire time when like I was trying to find my mom. I couldn't find my mom and I was kind of stressed out.
I remember I had just gotten out of volunteering, and I'm not going to say what it was because then y'all could hear me, but I wasn't near her. I was in the Commonwealth of Virginia at the time, and I still am right now, but basically, I had gotten out and I was finding it difficult to get in contact with my parents. I was just texting people. So I texted Bibi and I was like, hey, how are you doing? And she said, oh, there's this stalker or somebody following me. So I was a bit worried about that. So I called her and she said that she was in an elevator and she said that this one person had been giving her really bad vibes and it was kind of scaring her a little bit. So I was she went into detail, and I was kind of angry about that because that's not really appropriate, given her age or anything. So I did get kind of heated, and I told her to kind of tell the person to leave her alone in a very rude way, and then I figured that wasn't the best idea because then that might make him angry. So then I formatted the message that she may send to him. That was like, "Hey, I'm not really comfortable, blah blah blah." I could read it if you're okay with it, baby.
Oh yeah, sure. I never sent it because I was too nervous of like resparking him to like find me again. I just kind of let it die.
Pulling it up.
Sounds pretty weird, honestly. I feel like any stalker, no matter if you're a minor or not, is just weird. Especially that you're a minor.
Yeah, and especially since I was Muslim, and like during the interaction in the dealer's he kept trying to like grab my arm and stuff and like touch me, and I just kind of like shot him a look like, you better not, because I already told him, hey, I can't touch you for religious reasons. You're a guy. I'm Muslim. I can't do that. And I'm not comfortable with strangers touching me. I have sensory issues. I was already overwhelmed, and I just don't like randos touching me.
Mm-hmm. So I actually have the message right here that I was going to say, and what was it? I said, the comment that you made, this is what I texted her to text him. I said, the comment that you made was not in good taste, and it made me incredibly uncomfortable. I think it's best if we were to go our separate ways for both of our privacy. I'm sorry, but I prefer if you not reach out to me or contact me in any way because I'm uncomfortable with your communications. That's what I messaged immediately there. It's not that good. I should have formatted it differently.
Well, I didn't send it. I blocked the dude, and I avoided him like the plague. I didn't want him to like get mad at me or take anything like differently. Like, this dude was like acting like he knew me my whole life. He's like a follower of mine, I think, because he knew who I was in the server. I don't have that big of a following, but I get recognized. And I mean, it's kind of easy to recognize me. I'm like the only Niqabi in the fandom, but sometimes it draws bad people. I still have the collar he gave me. It's an LED collar. It's a dog collar. And I kept saying, oh yeah, I can use this for my actual dog. And then he was like, it's for you. And I was like, no. I was just really uncomfortable.
So he basically, this man that appears to be in his mid-20s gave a quite obvious minor a dog collar and is encouraging you to wear it?
Yes.
That's pretty disturbing, especially sensing that that's happening within our cons in our community. It's kind of concerning, to say the least.
It was really concerning. I didn't see him the rest of the convention. I was very nervous. I didn't put my suit back on after that because I have really bad vision in like dim rooms, and in the suit I was suiting in at the time, I was like blind. Like, I can't see. It's dark in the suit. The mesh is bad. Like, I normally have to use a blind cane to navigate. And I was like really nervous. I didn't put the suit on because I wanted to be able to see who was around me. But I also didn't want to be recognized that much. So I was just kind of like sticking close to my mom. And she wasn't happy. She never found the guy. He kind of disappeared after we went into my friend's room.
I'll censor it.
Oh my god, okay. After I went to my friend's room, he disappeared. I didn't see him again. He didn't approach me again. But he followed us for like a good 45 minutes. I could tell he was near us. Yeah. And it was like very uncomfortable, and he was obviously looking for us.
I feel like there needs to be more security-isk, especially at cons, because furries are already hated enough, and as you being a Muslim, it can be very bad. And especially if something like that's happening, I feel like you should be able to report it and it being taken more seriously, because I feel like if you just say, oh yeah, I think I'm getting stalked, they're just gonna kind of brush it off.
Yeah, I have faced other issues this con and last year regarding my religion too, where I feel really uncomfortable sometimes. I'm not like, people aren't allowed to carry around self-defense tools like pepper spray, or else they can get faced with a lifetime ban. I have been hate crimed at this very same convention last year. Someone called me a terrorist today, and last year someone cornered me. Some like middle-aged white guy cornered me and called me a sand N-word terrorist and told me to go back to my country. So yeah, we definitely need more security. Even like the thing that I just told you about that happened last year happened in front of con staff, and they didn't do anything about it.
Did you report it to the official con security team?
No, I didn't, but it happened right in front of staff. Like, it was next to a staff table. They heard it because they whipped their heads around. I was wearing a hijab at the time, so it was obviously targeted towards me. So, yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Also, what I noticed a lot about TFF, there's a lot of sexual things that were going on. Not like bad sexual, but more like dealer den sexual things, where minors were exposed to borderline pornography, and
Oh, yes.
it's it's kind of scary, because it's like the fandom is so against pedophiles and stuff, but they don't really take action to actively get borderline pornography out of the reaches and viewpoints of children in the fandom, like at cons, which is I think is very concerning, to say the least.
Oh, yes. I have a funny story about that, actually. I have video of like people in kink gear and people selling very obvious NSFW, like body pillow covers with bulges and baby fur diaper fetish art.
Mm,
They were selling nude pictures of themselves in the den. I just think that's really off. Like,
and
you
this
can,
was
I support that stuff if you keep it away from children and like out of like the public eye where children can access it.
yeah,
Like,
because you weren't in the adult area, right? So like the non-ID
no,
area. Yeah,
there
that's
isn't an ID area. It's accessible to everybody in all ages. Um, I had someone try to sell me, straight up nudity, but even though I had the minor badge. So and my ex-friend, last year was able to buy a adult book at the age of 14. They didn't check IDs or anything.
that's really gross. I feel like we
Actually,
should, we need to make cons more child friendly, because that sounds nasty. Also, I saw a lot of like gross suits there, like with
all that stuff.
reproductive parts and stuff that are very clearly made to catch an eye, and a lot of other things. And to me, low-key, it's kind of funny, like seeing those suits, but it's also kind of gross because you're around kids, like a lot of kids.
Yes, like they have after dark events. It's kind of like a well-known
Hmm.
thing. Like after 11 p.m., that's like the adult time. Like after 7, that's where more suggestive things come in. These were out during like 3 p.m. during family friendly, and there were children as young as age 7 there. I went to a panel
Oh.
that was like a piñata panel, and yeah, there's like kids there from the age like ages 7, like this into the ages of my little cousins, and like it's just I can't imagine like my little 10-year-old cousins getting exposed to this stuff during family friendly timing.
That's very upsetting. I personally have never been to a con, but I see a lot of things online, and a big aspect of the furry fandom I understand is like more of the suggestive things and stuff. But I feel like it gets to a point where you need to contain it and not be so loose around showing it to children, especially at cons, because especially not at cons, because cons are in public, and if someone happens to see it and you see children around all this borderline pornography, it's not a good look. It really isn't. And that's why there's so many
Definitely.
stereotypes around the furry community, is that we're all sexually charged, and that's all it is, you know.
Yeah,
I'm trying to break
last
those
year.
stereotypes with Horizon, actually. With the hiring process for all Nex Threads artists, they actually have to complete a form, and they do have a detail. They have to say whether they engage in certain public behaviors. Anybody can go and look at the form. It's very detailed and very descriptive. It pulls out specific people, like CEOs of specific companies, and you're not allowed to be associated with them whatsoever. I've had to reject people because there's one person that clicked off every single box on that list, and I was shocked by some of that. And so I've been trying to comb through that and make sure that everybody working for Horizon is actually a moral person. All this stuff is in private or doesn't exist at all, so I don't even know. So I think it's trying to make the fandom a better place and make it more safe, especially for kids.
Yeah, I appreciate you actually going through the effort to, you know, be associated with people that actually care about keeping children away from pornography and stuff, because pornography is a very bad thing. And I'm not saying that like the community can't be sexual. There's sexual sides to every single community, and it's totally fine what people want to do. I'm not saying that you can't, but I'm saying that in all honesty, you need to be very careful around children, especially because the furry community is so diverse with children. I'm sure there's hundreds and thousands, hundreds of thousands maybe, of children that are in the community itself, and it's kind of scary that it's such a sexual thing. And even like, not even just like at cons, like online, there's Twitters of like popular fursuiters who have after darks, and the only attempt they'll make to keep minors off their page is like an emoji that says no 18. They don't make it private, they don't make anything. And I feel like it's just such a bad look, and it gets everyone stereotyped. But I just feel like we need to be more cautious and more like strict on how our sexual aspect of the fandom is partaken. And again, I'm not criticizing anyone who does anything sexual. You can totally do whatever you want. It's just you have to be very careful around children, especially because it can be very sensitive things. And it can lead to total chaos.
Most definitely. I've had multiple incidents with me as a minor and my friends as minors being directly exposed to that stuff. Last year, the staff signed nude and atomically correct body pillow covers at our table. And again, we had minor lanyards. So yeah, they signed it at our table. They asked my mom if they could sign it at our table. She didn't know what it was, so she said yes. And they just brought this like nude body pillow cover over. It's kind of funny.
Also,
it's kind of funny now, but it's messed up.
Yeah, that sounds. It can be comedic sometimes, but I feel like if it's like an older kid, like, you know, someone in their late teenage years, then I feel like it's more of a funny thing. But if it's like 15 and below, where people won't see it as much of a joke, it's kind of eh.
The person I was with was 14, and I was 16 at the time.
That's horrible. I also feel like cons need to be very aware of who they're allowing in their cons, because I have seen so many instances of people who have been outed as pedophiles and zoophiles being able to come to these cons without like no problem. Like I don't know anyone by name off the top of my head, but I know of some instances.
Rowley.
Yeah,
Rowley
that
was able
guy.
to attend TFF one year.
That was
And
bad,
he is a
and
registered, I'm pretty sure.
which I think is bad. I, I feel like these cons need to do more about their security and more of like background check wise when they allow people, especially people who are selling pornography at the dens and stuff.
Yeah. It's very disturbing. We do need to make sure that we need to protect the youth and the children in the fandom, and we need to protect our own image, because even people who aren't kids don't want to see that stuff in family friendly spaces. Like, I know me as a Muslim, I don't want to see straight up pornography because it's uncomfortable, and I shouldn't be looking at that due to my religion, and just out of my personal preference, I don't want to see that.
Yeah, it's just a very sensitive topic that can be extremely harmful, and also pornography is a very addictive thing, especially when it's exposed to young children, and it can lead to a lot of mental health problems.
It
And
physically
I
alters
don't
your
know.
mind.
Yeah, the community, the fandom, it's more of like a love everybody, be positive, and keep each other safe. It's more of a it's it's an aspect that we have where we need to be more, like I don't want to say like censorative, but more like supportive and like keep the children of the fandom safe, because it's just a bad thing to be around pornography a lot. And it doesn't help either because pornography is so accessible, especially to children, like young children who don't know any
Oh yeah.
better. And it can be influenced by people in the fandom, which is why grooming happens a lot, unfortunately.
Yeah, I had to call out an ex-friend for doing that, actually.
It's horrible.
Absolutely
Is there
horrible.
anything else? Is any stories you want to tell from TFF?
Besides that, it was a good con. I obviously got con crud. I'm sick. Sprint actually called in a few times yesterday to make sure I was okay, because the con creep kind of freaked me out. So he's a good friend for like checking in on me.
Good job, Sprint.
I would have called in more today if I actually knew you were going. I thought you weren't there.
I was there, but I was with my mom, and I left around like 4.
Mm. I heard about that baby thing. The baby.
I stand the
Banner, or
baby. I love the
that was
baby
funny.
poster. I got a picture.
That was
I
pretty
got a
funny.
picture with it. I could send it to you.
What's the baby?
Yeah, do it, man. Oh, also, I will be posting all the screenshots. I'll be posting videos of what Habibi's been talking about, so you guys can see it. And I'll post their socials on the screen along with their socials in the description, whether it be Telegram, Discord, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, whatever it might be. So I think
Yes,
that
thank you
wraps
for
up
having
today's
us, for sure.
episode.
Thank you very much.
Of course, man. Of course, you guys are always welcome onto my podcast.
That's
I
awesome.
appreciate you guys coming on here. Yeah.
Thank you for
Good
having
episode.
us.
I'd love to come back a
course.
little bit later, especially talking about Nex Threads.
Sure, man. We can have a whole other aspect, have a whole other video, whatever you want, man.
I have a lot of con stories that I can tell y'all.
Heck yeah. And if anyone watching has con stories or anything they want to talk about, shoot me a DM on my Instagram. I'll link it in the description. But yeah, other than that, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this story. I hope you guys are a little more aware of what's been happening. And sorry for not uploading as much. I'm pretty busy with my school and stuff.
Hey guys, it's Locke. Don't know what happened to the audio, but sorry for not being in this episode, but be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and be sure to join us for episode 3. Bye.